I wish I could give this feeling. I wish I could give this feeling. On the corner. All right, everybody, we're back. Promised you more guests. Tons of people coming through Blue Wire Studios here in Vegas. Now, the man behind GCW, for my money, the hottest promotion in pro wrestling. And I say this honestly, like we enjoy it. We go to every show every time we're in the weekends. Brett Lauderdale joining us today. Brett, thank you. Busy weekend out here in Vegas.
Busy weekend. Yep, there's a lot going on. And I'm excited to be here, and my whole team's excited to be here. Thank you guys for having me here. I'm very impressed with the setup.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a little rich.
Yeah, because listen,
A little ritzy.
a lot coming for you. So thanks.
I'm looking at like 4 hard cams right in front of me.
Yes.
But,
Yeah. Listen, man, we're trying to get to your level.
I need to get on this level. Can I borrow these? Please.
No, we appreciate it. I mean, we've seen you throughout the years here in Vegas. So you guys are no strangers to Vegas, GCW. We love the shows here. First ever death match I saw was here.
Cool.
Yeah, a couple of years ago when you guys ran it. You've now been all over the city, different venues, and it seems like everyone, your fan base travels now from city to city. When did you know, like, okay, we're really taking it to the next level? Because you guys have been around for so long now.
Yep. I mean, I think that the real turning point in terms of us becoming like, an indie independent wrestling like powerhouse and going beyond the, traditional scope, the traditional what an independent wrestling company is, was probably Spring Break 2 in New Orleans in 2018, when we were still working with Gabe and Sal as part of their, what is it? What was their thing called? More Than Mania or whatever.
Yeah.
Their version of the collective,
Collective,
you
yeah.
know?
Pre-collective.
And we were amongst heavy hitters that weekend. We were amongst 2 Evolve shows and then 2 Progress shows. And at the time, you remember Progress was
UK
huge.
only, yeah. And like, so when it came
Huge.
here,
And we sold the most tickets of everybody that entire weekend. And our show was a midnight show. And we blew away Progress and Evolve, and we blew away High Spot, the WrestleCon Super Show, which is always a huge show
Yep.
every year, and we blew them away. We had the biggest crowd of the weekend, and that's when like it became apparent that like not only are we onto something, but this could be like a long-term thing, and we can like run with this now.
It was interesting because Mike Weber
Mhm.
over at Fight, we had a conversation years ago. I think that's when I first was introduced to you. I think it was 2019,
Mhm.
3 years ago now. And he was saying, he's like, man, GCW is like, it's so different, but it'll grab the lapsed fan, right? Because it's wrestling. It's like it's no bull. What did he say? He was like, it's no bullshit. It's no bullshit, Andreas. It's no bullshit. And he was like, we're so glad we picked it up on Fight, and now they got an outlet. And over the past few years, it's like the cool thing about it is you guys run a lot of shows. If you miss a show, it's okay. You can go back and watch it. But you always are getting like tremendous action. And you never know who's gonna show up. When did you realize like you have your core group, but now it's like everybody wants to work the GCW show.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely started happening. I mean, it was, it's been a gradual thing, but again, yeah, 2019, that was when we went from like, oh, there's this hot indie,
Right.
and then as it kept going, it's like, oh, they might actually stick around. This might not be flash in the pan type shit. And yeah, of course, that's when everybody started reaching out, and wanting to be a part of it. And it's obviously it's like humbling and whatnot. I get messages all the time. Like and I apologize. I know Sal messages from like big names in the business, and it's not because I'm like trying to diss them. It's just because there's so many,
Right.
and I can't keep up with them. And I wish I could work with this person, but I literally don't have room for them. Like we're already stacked. Our lineups just don't have any room. And these are like good big names. There's so many that just want to be a part of it. You know, um, but yeah, I mean, in the last couple of years, that's really become a thing now.
do you make it a point? Because a lot of people wouldn't do this. Do you make it a point to stay loyal to those people who were with you in 2017,
course.
2018?
Yeah.
Because with all those big names, some people might just be like, well, I don't
Yep.
have room for no, we'll make room for these guys and we'll maybe bump people off of the cards like the staples that we've grown to see. Is that something that you're very conscious of?
Of course I am. I mean, of course I try to be as loyal as possible to the people that have been with us, the longest, that have been there, whether it's from day one or that 2018 or 19, people that believed in us before everybody believed in us, it's a balancing act, of course, and it's a challenge at times to fit all these people on and make sure this person is getting what they deserve, and that person gets what they deserve, and also make room for these new people. That's one of the things that's can be stressful or challenging at times, but it's also a good problem to have.
Yeah.
So, but definitely, I mean, loyalty is definitely a thing, and I appreciate the people that have stuck with us through, thick and thin, and the good times and bad, and because Lord knows there's been plenty of those too. So, I'm always, definitely there's an effort made to recognize those people.
So the interesting thing is, like, a lot of businesses during the pandemic couldn't figure out what to do. We talked during all
Mhm.
this. Y'all figured this shit out,
Hmm.
and y'all. Would you say that you got bigger during the pandemic? Because there wasn't a lot of places to go, and people were at home and they needed something to watch.
Mhm.
And I knew a lot of people that I know was like, I'm gonna get a chance to watch GCW.
Hmm. Um, yeah, I think we definitely continued to grow during the pandemic. I don't know if it's just a direct result of that. I mean, our
I mean, the
we
trajectory
were
was already
growing,
there.
right? We
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
we were growing anyways, and the things that we lost due to COVID were significant. I mean, the growth was going to be there anyways. So it's hard to say, was it just because we were the one of the only games in town, or were we just growing anyways? But I mean, one thing that's for certain is we didn't go backwards during COVID.
Not at all.
We found ways to connect to our audience and provide content and do it safely, for fans and talent. And yeah, I mean, it definitely paid off, staying focused and sticking to it. Yeah.
Around that time, see Nick fucking Gage
Mm-hmm.
blow up around that time, right when like COVID, in terms of restriction, and everyone has to stay inside to start it ending, and people are able to go outside a little bit more. Nick Gage becomes a household name. What did that mean to you? Because that's again someone who's worked his ass off. You guys have a relationship. If anyone
Yeah.
saw that episode,
Mm-hmm.
beyond just he works for your promotion. What did it mean for you to watch him finally get his flowers and then transform into something,
Yeah.
into a cult phenom at that
Mhm.
point?
Well, yeah. I mean, I've known Nick for almost 2 decades, um, you know, in and outside of wrestling, and I've known him, and been through good and bad times with him, So, of course, it means a lot to me to see him be successful and get his flowers, as you said, and um, I've always believed that it could happen and that it would happen. That he just needed to, you know, focus, believe in himself. Which is, I'll tell you one thing that's crazy about Nick Gage, and maybe I'm breaking kayfabe here, but I think the hardest person it is to convince that Nick Gage is a star is Nick Gage himself.
Mm.
So many of like my talks with him over the years has been, Nick, you can do this. Like, you need to be ready. Your opportunity is gonna come. One of these big guys is gonna come, and they're gonna want to do business with you. So you need to be ready. And for years, it was just they're not gonna want to do anything with me. Who am I? No, Nick. There are people around the world. There are fans around the world and around this country that worship you, that look up to you. And I mean, even when he sees it, even when they tell him, it's like sometimes it's hard. I'm like, I'll be standing next to him, and somebody will come up to him and say, "Thank you, Nick. You inspire me," or when in my toughest times, I look to you, and seeing what you were able to do, that motivated me. And they'll come up and they'll say it, and they'll walk away, and I say, "See, Nick, this is there's thousands of these people
Right.
out there," and it's I think finally, only recently, it's finally started to get through to him, like that. He he can make a difference in people's life beyond wrestling.
Right.
I really think he could. I don't think that his career or relevance is over when he wrestles his last match. I think that there are things he could do.
That story is timeless.
Yeah,
In any profession, in any career, like everyone
yeah,
knows someone who goes through
yeah,
that journey.
yeah. And I mean, again, I've seen so many ups and downs with Nick since I first met him. So many times when he was on the brink of breaking through and becoming a star, and then something will happen, and it's like, here we go again. And then, are we ever going to recover from this? And then slowly we start to go back up, and it's so yeah, it's great. I was there. I was in the building in Charlotte when he wrestled Jericho. And I was sitting up in the stands, and it was like so surreal to me. And I was so nervous, definitely more nervous than he was. I was probably the most nervous person. Um, like I had during the show, even before his match, like I had to get up and walk around like the concourse and like try to hide because people just wanted to. People recognized me and they were,
Yeah.
yeah, let's go GCW MDK, and I had to like kind of get away because I was so nervous. I finally came back, and then when he came out, it was like, oh shit, here we go, and he's coming down to the ring. Of course, like you don't. Who knows how it's gonna go?
Yeah.
I mean, this guy's never wrestled on TV before, much less live television against Chris Jericho in the main event. And I watched him get in the ring, and the match starts. And I swear, I mean, I was in awe the whole match. I was waiting for something to go maybe a little off the rails, but that match went perfect.
Yeah,
I watched him, and it felt like I was watching somebody who's been on TV for 20 years, like somebody who is a veteran. Like this guy's been, doing TV. Like he's been on Monday Night Raw for the last 10 years. He every movement in that match, every move, every sequence, he looked like a polished veteran who belonged in that spot. And as again, we're 2 minutes in, 3 minutes, 5 minutes in, right to the finish. I'm just in awe. My heart was beating like, holy shit, you fucking did it, dude. You fucking did it.
Did he take it? How did he take? I mean, again, you tell him you did it. How did he feel about the match when he was done?
I mean, I saw him afterwards, and yeah, I think he was proud. I think he was definitely proud for sure. I think also, he's trying to play it off like, of course. But I mean, I know I had people calling me and texting me that afternoon from the locker room saying he looks nervous, But I mean, that was it. That was like the culmination. Like this is do or die, and he did it.
Yo, he alludes to the Dark Side of the Ring episode. I mean, that was a whole nother level because there's a lot of people who hadn't seen Nick perform, but the story is what hooked people in. Dark Side of the Ring is one of those shows that people who don't watch wrestling watch the show, but a lot of the talent that's on Dark Side of the Ring, they're not here anymore. Nick is here. When did you get contacted? When did you guys get contacted about this? Did he have any apprehensions about doing it originally?
Yes. It was a process to talk him into it every step of the way. He's like, his mindset for most of his career has been, kayfabe, like, oh, we're not going to talk about this or that on camera. I'm not going to do this interview. Like every interview he ever did was always in character, So getting him to, I mean, he said no several times. Like Vice went through me to get him. And so like, I'm talking to him and they're saying, how's, is he good? Are we going to do it? And he's saying, fuck no. And I kept telling them, I was like, yep, he's good. Yep, we're good. When are we doing it? So I knew I had like, all right, I got like 3 weeks to convince this guy because they're coming to New Jersey. So slowly, like I started to get more people on board to like break it down to him. Like, this is going to change your life. You have to do this. Good, bad, and ugly. There's obviously, your whole story's not glorious, but here we are. Look, there's going to be a payoff here at the end. And yeah, I mean, finally he agreed to do it. And
what did you say to get him to agree? What was the tipping point?
I mean, it was, I don't think there was any one thing I said. It was just being relentless with him and telling him, like, even when he would say no, like, all right, well, we're filming in September. So, like,
like it's happening.
Right. Like, I don't know what you're going to need or whatever, but they're coming in September. So, yeah.
And then you go from that moment with Nick to then I think you guys were in Vegas right after that show, and Moxley shows up.
This was 1 week before
Jersey.
1 week before. Oh wait, no, I don't know. You might be right.
Yeah, it's between like the Vegas and Jersey.
The Jericho
shows.
thing was 1 week before Matt Cardona.
Yep.
I don't remember the timing with Mox, but yeah, sure.
Yeah,
So
I think Cardona's when they start throwing shit.
Yeah,
nuts. We'll talk about that in a second.
So main event.
Okay.
Out here.
Yes.
And then Moxley shows up after, and they have the stare down.
Yes.
And that's the tease. Yes. And I think it takes like a year for the match to come to fruition.
Yeah,
like
it was
6 months.
Slow build. Yep.
Slow build for that match. One thing we don't see a lot in indies per se is like these storylines and the slow builds and what you did there with those two, what you've done with Cardona, who you just mentioned. And I mean, the Cardona stuff in GCW.
Holy fuck.
Incredible, right?
Yes.
They're pelting him with shit in the ring.
Yeah.
So how much of that do you take pride in as this being your company? Because a lot of people are just like, oh, we're just going to throw these two people together in a match and It's all right. People will pay and all this stuff, but you guys are different.
Yeah. I mean, of course, I take like great pride in that, and I'm proud of those moments. And I mean, those are moments that are gonna live forever, you know. And those are the moments that you kill for. You know, they're part of our identity and part of our history and part of our legacy. You know, um, those are moments that's they stand the test of time, and you can always show people. Um, but it's yeah, storylines and storytelling and indies is also challenging. You know, I don't have anybody under contract, so especially when working with bigger names, you say, oh, let's build this story over the next 5 or 6 months. It's a good idea and it sounds easy, but you don't know if this guy even going to be here in 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, and you try to invest all this time, and then maybe somebody's gone. I mean, did you hear who is going back to WWE today?
No,
We have
didn't
not.
hear.
Jeff Jarrett has been
Oh, yeah,
rehired.
Jesus.
He's going to be running the entire live events.
He's just been hitting
Operation.
people with guitars.
Well, I mean, we just released a whole new video
Yeah.
with Effie and him, and
Yeah.
obviously, I mean, it's pretty obvious we had a rematch lined up.
Right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I haven't even talked to him since then, so I don't know if it's going to happen or not. But those are the things that can happen, you know.
Yeah.
Uh, but I mean, we try our best. You know, we do try our best to maintain storylines from top to bottom.
Did you go to Moxley or did Moxley come to you?
Little bit of both. There was intermediaries involved too.
Okay.
You know, he was, Moxley's a different kind of guy.
Clearly.
You know,
Yeah.
but the one thing about Moxley is he never really changed who he was. And I've known Moxley for almost 15 years. So I think that helped, and that he's, a little familiar with me, and he, of course, Nick, he knew very well. And I think, I don't want to say he was bored in AEW, but he wanted to do different stuff that he couldn't
Right.
do in AEW, death matches and indie stuff. That stuff's fun for him too. He likes being like in that raw environment. And if he's gonna go anywhere, why not start with us,
Yeah.
somewhere where he knows he can be comfortable and kind of do his thing.
So we know Moxley is a maniac. We
Mhm.
didn't know Matt Cardona is a maniac.
Mhm.
How does this all come to fruition? Because Matt Cardona is a guy. Did you know him previously to?
Nope.
So did he present this whole idea to you? How did you hash this out? And he becomes like the biggest heel
Yeah.
ever.
This was another instance where there was intermediaries, mutual friends. I mean, first of all, I've always been a fan of the Zack Ryder thing.
It was
It's
great.
corny, whatever. It's kind of corny and it's very WWE, but like I love that. I appreciate that too, And I always there's not so many. There are others like him in that character that you always think like, wow, imagine putting them in the GCW environment, and he's like the most of that character, like he is that character. Yeah, I mean, when he became available, we had a mutual friend who connected us, and um, I remember talking to him on the phone the first time, and he was down for whatever. I mean, he was really open to hearing my ideas, and I remember him saying, "Yeah, fuck it, let's do it."
Sounds
And
about right.
yeah, and he was, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think. Like, I think back at the conversations. Like, I've never had one conversation with him that ever was like, you know, that there was 1 ounce of him, being, you know, um, a headache or frustrating or pulling any. I'm a big star. None of that type of mentality. He's always been about the team. Believe it or not, he's been down for GCW from first starting the angle with Gage
Mhm.
and being willing to go crazy with Gage. Full blown. To everything that came after it. He's always been down for the team. He's been flexible on everything that comes with it. The business side of it, and he wants more. I mean, he wants to do more.
Holy shit.
All the time we talk about, I mean, he'll be like, me personally, I do a lot of things like on the fly. Like I haven't even booked half of our shows through the end of July yet. I have the dates, but I don't have the matches and everything.
Right.
But
So
it's-
wait. I'm gonna stop you and then I'll let you pick that up. So
Mhm.
when you post the match, like the talent that's appearing as a match, is this as it's coming up?
a lot
to
of
the
it
end?
is.
Holy shit.
A lot of it is. I mean, there's base talent that I know is going to be here,
Right.
but the matches and stuff. A lot of it is. I mean, yeah, like a lot of matches. don't even become matches till a week or 2 weeks before the show. And it's it's a luxury that we have because the fans trust us at this
Yeah,
point.
no,
I
we
don't
don't
have to
give we
put
don't give a shit.
No,
we're
Right.
just
I
gonna
know
pull
what I'm
up.
getting.
right. So Cardona is so busy. I mean, his schedule is booked out through like October and November and even December. So like he'll message me all the time, be like, "I'm into October, November. You have any dates for me?" I'm like, "Dude, I haven't even. I'm like still in August right now, you know." So, um, but props to him. I mean, he makes sure that GCW gets first dibs. Like he'll say to me like, "Hey, I just got an offer for October 15th. Are you doing anything? Do you need me that day?" Like he'll make sure that I let him know first before he accepts, which is awesome.
That is
It's a guy that wants to be here. That's what we need. Mhm.
Looking forward, I mean, again, you said it's such a high demand now from talent who are leaving companies. Maybe they get released. Maybe they ask for their release, whatever it may be. Now, you guys are getting this rep of like, oh, I can kind of rehabilitate my character,
Mhm.
or I can finally take control
Mm-hmm.
of my character and who I want to be. How do you then, when you say, okay, I do want to work with this person, how does that work? Where you go, like, I need this from you, but I'll also allow you to be yourself. Because a lot of these people have come to a place where they haven't been allowed to be themselves at
Mhm.
all.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot of instances where we just go in cold, like, um, a lot of times there's mutual friends or something. And, you know, um, I think a lot of times people, they know what they're getting into with GCW. And at the same time, I think, they know what my expectations are going to be, like, but I do always make a point of that. I mean, of course, there's been people who, um, where I make it very clear, like the first call, like I remember talking to Leo Rush for the first time, and again, we have mutual friends, but it was like I told him like everything that you haven't been able to do in WWE, like you can do that here. If you have a character or whatever moves or a promo or a presentation that you've been wanting to do, this is where you can do it. And you know, and I think that of course he appreciated that and he loves that. Leo's such a creative guy.
Right.
Yeah.
But that's always part of the sell when a sell is needed. Like this is different here. I want to hear what you want to do, and then we'll put our spin on it to make it GCW compatible. You know, but
Is that why we see a lot of, real quick, a lot of the talent who come in work GCW talent? When they do come in, you kind of go like, you know, Cardona would come in and work Gage, or I've seen even you guys had Scorpio Sky.
No,
No,
Scorpio.
Tuco Scorpio.
When we had Woods mark out.
Yeah, Tuco Scorpio
Yes.
came in.
Yeah.
And he worked like a local talent or someone who's on
He worked Bay.
GCW. Oh, he worked Bay.
Yep.
Effie works a lot of people
yes,
as well. AJ Gray,
Mhm.
people come in, they'll work AJ.
Mhm.
It seems like you always kind of pair someone like, hey, there's a new person,
Mhm.
but crowd, don't worry about it. They're working someone
course.
like you're going to get something
yeah,
that's us with
Mhm.
this match.
of
That's a concerted effort.
course. Yeah, I mean, you bring somebody in that's not traditionally GCW style. I mean, yeah, you want to put them with somebody who's the definition of GCW, like an Effie or an AJ. That's gonna, you're gonna get. It's gonna they're gonna be able to help that person, be GCW if they need that help. Not everybody needs it, but maybe some people do. Um, but yeah, of course. I mean, throw them right into the fire. So that's kind of how we
It's
do
almost literal for a lot
Yeah,
of
it
guys.
could
I
be.
mean, they'd be like, oh, this is such a nice door here. What is this
Yeah,
doing?
what does this do?
Yeah, and the next thing you know,
Oh.
they're three doors deep.
Hammerstein Ballroom.
Mhm.
Huge for you guys.
Yeah.
Makes me wonder. The collective has done well, like you've done like WrestleMania weekends. Is there gonna be a time where GCW splits off and has their event, like their prime pay-per-view? Because Hammerstein did really well for you guys.
Mhm.
And it feels like we're reaching that point where to have that tentpole GCW event.
Yeah, I mean, traditionally, it's always been spring break has always kind of been our big
Right.
event. It's the culmination of the collective, or it's whatever. It's the featured event of the collective every year, and yeah, that's traditionally been our big event. But it is part of a weekend of events. So something like Hammerstein, which was on its own, and was so successful. Yeah, I think we would love to do something like that every year. And be able to have our own feature attraction on its own, and Yeah, I think probably will try to do that again.
It doesn't feel like you could be too far away from it. I mean, from the talent that you have to pick from and the talent that you have to put together a marquee event like that, you can sell.
Hmm.
Is there anything standing in the way aside from just doing it?
No, I mean, there's something like Hammerstein. I could book another event right now if I wanted to, but of course everything's timing and, um, you know, say we were to do it in say we were to do it every January. All right, well, January is like 6 months away, which in wrestling terms and in GCW terms, that's like 10 years away. So, you know, um, but of course, it's something that I think about, and of course, I think it's something that we're going to try to do again. You know,
I can't wait.
Mhm.
I feel like it's time. I mean, everybody talks about it. Here's the thing. As we're getting ready to take this home. Every wrestler that I talk to at a major company, they want to see you guys' show
Mhm.
live.
Yeah.
It's the one thing that has now become like the talk amongst
Oh.
wrestlers. And but we've talked about it before when we brought Woods to meet Tuco
Mhm.
Scorpio. He had never met him, and he just wanted to go. He needed to see it, and then he marked out the entire time backstage. Like
Yeah.
this has become a common theme, and now it's like GCW is not. I don't. Can you even call yourselves an indie anymore?
Well, we're definitely indie in that we report to nobody.
Okay.
I don't report to anybody. I don't have any sort of, I don't have a network that tells me what to do. I
Yeah.
don't have any corporate sponsors that tell me what to do. I mean, whereas I don't have, I mean, everything is in house, So in that respect, of course, we're independent. I mean, in terms of like what independent wrestling companies do, I mean, we definitely do things that probably none of the others do.
Right.
So I don't think that means that we're not independent. Um, but yes, I do see a lot of people come to our shows. People that, if fans knew who was standing backstage watching, they would, probably
I've
have their
heard.
Go
mind blown.
crazy.
I mean, I hear like I
Yeah,
get texts from people, and I'm like, "Yo, you're backstage." Yeah. Like,
yeah.
holy shit.
Just even spring break in Dallas a couple months ago, there was like, enough television talent to run our own episode of Raw. You know, I mean, we've had people who were actively WWE World Champions watching our shows backstage.
That's
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Now, again, one thing that you guys do a lot of, you're so creative. You're always pushing the envelope, always trying to do something new.
Mhm.
You operate week to week, month to month.
Mhm.
But if you have to do like long term goals and long term booking for yourself as a company,
Here's a challenge.
yeah, like what's your goals for the next 1, 2, 3 years of GCW? Remaining independent seems
Mhm.
like something
It
you
is.
want to do, but what's the next step then? Where's the growth?
Yeah, people ask me this all the time. Um, for me, I do want to keep us independent, and I want to continue to grow our brand. And to me, that just means continuing to find new markets and making new fans, which is something that we've done a lot of, especially recently in this last 6 months to a year. So many new fans, first time, so many times on social media, or people will come up to me and say, "It's my first GCW show or my first independent wrestling show. This is awesome. I'll be back." We see that all the time now, and not just one fan. There's like dozens at every show that come up to me, and they come up to the rest of the roster too. That um, I love that the most, or people that will say, "This is the first show I've been to in 15 years or 10 years." We get so many of those, no exaggeration. Again, dozens of these, weekly. People, whether it's in person or sending us messages or emails, thank you. You made me a fan again. You know, I love that. I love being able to say we did that, and that we're this person's connection back to wrestling. And I love being able to uh, help grow independent wrestling. If we can be the bridge for a casual fan to learn what independent wrestling is, and that they can watch us and then become a fan of the next independent wrestling company, whatever their local company is, whatever, and we can grow independent wrestling together. I love that. I want to be, I want GCW to be that company, that grows independent wrestling. Um, and I'm not interested. I'm not interested in TV deals. I
Are you
mean,
sure? Because a lot of people compare you guys to
I
ECW
know.
and
Yeah.
they have that same feel, and that's why they gravitate and they love
You
it.
know.
And then the TV deal comes, the money comes, and they get scared. And they're, like, and
There's the
something's going to
thing.
change.
What the other thing with GCW is I want it to always be authentic and real and organic, and you know, producing weekly episodic television makes it really hard to do that.
Yeah.
You know, you
You've been in those environments.
I have
Yeah,
been,
but
in
you got to
those
answer to
environments.
somebody.
Right, but and I've seen how it can, you know, it changes what you do, and by it has to.
Yes.
You literally have to. I mean, you know, if this Warner Discovery wants to come and throw like 9 figures at us, maybe I would reconsider it, you know.
Yeah, of course.
But I'm not pursuing anything.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not pursuing anything. My goal is to continue doing what we're doing and just to expand our fan base. You know, I know that, you know, sometimes people expect that I'm going to have some other answer, or that maybe they think I should have a different answer, but that's the honest truth. I just want to keep making new fans and take us to new places and do things that people haven't done or think couldn't be done. You know, I like making history.
I think you post the picture of you and Stephanie McMahon comes out. And then you have some people's like, oh, that's really cool. And some people's like, oh, WWE's in their pockets. And what is the origin of that picture? Like, is there any story behind
No,
that
of
picture? Or
course
is it
not.
just a damn picture?
No, one of our friend of GCW had a box at the stadium, and with that box there was access to this whatever club up in the suite level, and we walked in and Stephanie was there taking pictures with everybody. So, I mean, I
Thank you.
posted that as a joke.
Yeah,
And
people
I
lost
thought
their
everybody,
minds.
right? I thought people would get it. I mean, I said my good, close, personal friend.
Nope, they took that shit
Let me
serious.
see. Where's I got Stephanie's number here, and she invited me. But yeah, people's imaginations are crazy.
Like,
Like, what
you
they
couldn't have
think-
expected that. I mean, you put it
I
up
mean, I
as
kind of did, hoping that would happen, but to the levels to what I've seen, I mean, people's imaginations have run wild on it. And I let them go. Fuck it.
GCW on the WWE network.
Right.
Like,
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, they're buying
GCW
like,
to Peacock.
I've seen
Right.
so many things. Like, where's the picture of Vince? I'm like, really, guys? Like, holy shit.
Yeah.
That's pro wrestling fans are the most fascinating curmudgeons I've ever seen in my life. They can't just enjoy shit. But fortunately, we've had enough of them enjoy what you guys have been doing. Fortunately, I get to see people that I've known for a while, like Sean Waltman, get to work a show.
Oh man,
like
Sean's great.
I
You know
love
that
that guy.
Sean wrestled against Joey with a torn bicep?
He told me after the fact.
Guys
Yeah.
are
Texted me
mad,
and
man.
told me.
He tore his bicep a week before the first match, a week before the tag match that he did in LA. It was Joey and Sean Waltman versus Cardona and Brian Myers. And he tore his bicep training, you know, at the gym, and tried not to tell anybody. You know, he kept it on the low. And he wrestled that match with a torn bicep. And then he wrestled Joey with a torn bicep, with his doctors telling him, you really should just come and get the surgery. And Sean said, I can't do that to you guys. I'm going to be there. Incredible, right? Why does he have to do that? He doesn't have to do that.
It kind of speaks to what you guys have built also.
Yeah.
Man's
Yeah.
a Hall of Famer, but he wanted to be part of something.
That's
Yeah.
the whole point. Like
Yeah.
the conversations that I had with Shaw, just in general, he sent me like a text with a picture of him training. Like this is like a year or so ago. And I was like, are you? It's like, maybe. Thinking about it. I was like, where would you go? He ain't say nothing. Then I saw, and I was like, word, Sean? He was like, had to do it.
Yeah. And he was just at our show last weekend. He comes just to support. He comes in the locker room and talks to everybody. You know, he's a good guy, and he
Yes.
loves wrestling.
Yep.
Loves wrestling.
Yep.
I mean, I've gone out to eat with him. We go to the Rainbow Room, the Bow, as he calls it.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, like this dude stories are great. Obviously, he's seen it all, but
Yeah.
he's just a good guy. I mean, he's cool to hang out with. He's great to have in the locker room. I mean, we're lucky to have that connection with him. You know, that's one thing I'm really proud of.
Yeah, you guys did that.
Yeah.
No, it's amazing. Can't wait to see what comes next for GCW. I mean, we'll be at the show this weekend. And hey, if any of you guys are in town in Vegas for this big wrestling weekend, make sure you guys get out to GCW. I know everyone who like listens to our podcast probably already knows, because every time like we go to a show, like we just mark out over that. So we appreciate it, Brett, taking this time out. Busy weekend. GCW's traveling everywhere. They come to your city, make time to go and watch the show. You guys go to, WrestleMania weekends, other AEW weekends, anything like that. It's the match of the weekend every time. Is at a
Every
GCW
time.
show.
Every time.
Every single time.
And don't fucking sleep and wait and buy tickets. And I got people like texting me and shit. You got a line to get tickets? Like, why aren't you buying when they went on sale? You just can't be walking up to stuff like this anymore. It doesn't happen like
Not
that.
anymore.
Nah, man.
Nah, like it's past that level. So we appreciate it. We appreciate everyone for listening. And so many great wrestling voices have joined us. So many more to come. Make sure you guys check us out all social media at Corner Podcast _ on Twitter, at Corner Club for Life on Instagram. We'll keep this short. You guys stay safe. Enjoy all the pro wrestling this weekend. Until our next episode, we're out.
Peace.